time is 7:40 a.m., 20 minutes to 8. In a report published this morning, Professor Philpott of Midland University asserts that we have it too good today. Mechanical aids to living, he maintains, are making us soft.
Finished with the paper?
No longer manufacturing and harvesting by simple
What's that there?
Have you finished with
enough to counterbalance
the
the
paper?
large food intakes of
Oh,
our
turn the
prosperous
damn thing
society.
off.
The use of motor vehicles in particular.
Well, I must get on.
Late tonight, dear?
No, home at 7.
Oh, good.
Home at 7, 11 hours away. Mr. Smith, husband, father, taxpayer. Mr. Smith of number 19, 500 down and the balance over 25 years. He doesn't think he's getting soft. Some of his mechanical aids may be luxurious, but they're not luxuries. He needs them.
Mr. Smith knows a lot about cars. His father had one. The family often took it out on Sundays in the summer. They'd do all of 2,000 miles in a year. Mr. Smith does more than that in a month. Mr. Smith, at 4 years old, bounced up and down beside Dad. 60 was the summit of excitement, and averaging 30 was a target. Mr. Smith, aged 34, goes to town fast and daily. Father, armed with season ticket, travelled to his city office on the 817. Mr. Smith motors, 30 miles each way every day, and to other people's offices, miles apart mostly, sometimes 7 or 8 of them between breakfast and getting home at 7, or 9, or 11, or maybe hoteling it in Wales or the North Midlands. Braking and accelerating and changing gear, he can't say himself how many hundreds of times a week he does these things in today's crowding traffic. His car, used fast and hard, gets no loving tinkering, only the barest routine attention. But quite unlike Father, the thought of a breakdown never occurs to him. Why should he reflect that the tiny vital distributor points operate 3 million times in his driving year, that the pistons of his engine flash down and up 12 million times? That the oil pump on which his mobility totally depends delivers 500,000 gallons to bearings under strain measured in tons. That the water pump in a year circulates nearly 750,000 gallons. For him, his car is an essential, comfortable thing to be used. Its reliability he takes for granted, but the factory that built it doesn't. The factory takes nothing for granted. Month in, month out, it proves by remorseless mechanical repetition all the components that go into its vehicles, without mercy towards its own designs or to any part of them that it either makes or buys. All day, every day, and many a night too, Mr. Smith's car is under continuous test for any weakness of material, design, or workmanship. He's a sensible man. The car looks well, he likes that. It's comfortable, he likes that more. It's a vivid goer, and it's superbly reliable, and he likes that most. What made it so? What's behind you, Mr. Smith? A town, a bustling, thriving community. Like any other, a community of men and wives, boys and sweethearts, fathers and sons, even grandsons follow earlier generations into the city of car makers and car users. For here, cars are built, sold, and bought, and talked with active interest, more here than elsewhere. 4 million units of electricity a year, 4,000 phone calls a day. A town, the bigger in fact of 2 such, and the senior of 3. More than half a century of history behind it, yet within it, shining modernity and structure and equipment. Its machine tools are numbered in thousands, valued in millions. Its importance to the economy of Britain is great. From here are sold abroad every year more than 100,000 vehicles into 140 countries. This town, this motor hive with its own roads and its own traffic problems, is a central point in the prosperity of plants and hundreds of towns all over Britain that supply it with steel, fabrics, electrical assemblies, paint, rubber, chemicals, glass. A town of ordinary people, a little unusual only in the concentration of skills they represent. A busy and generally contented place, disciplined but democratic. Yet this is too a town under a dictatorship, for it is ruled by an unseen despot. For him, the power pours and the machines clamor. His name? Smith. Here are 25,000 people, all behind the reliability of Mr. Smith's car, all dependent on Mr. Smith. Good health, Mr. Smith. The quality of your car begins in its strength in its looks, its performance in both. For strength without weight is born only of a fine conception, accurately translated into metal. There is more to a motor factory than is conveyed in the overused words assembly line. Patterns are the first step on the long road from paper to production. Patterns in fine timber, plaster, plastics, fiberglass. This is, in any context, an immensely skilled occupation. These men must start their careers with a minimum of 5 years of old-fashioned, hard-working indentureship, many of them in this factory's own apprentice school. Their work is crucially important. It's also, almost always, secret, and they take in it the pride which blesses all men of rare ability. From the patterns will come press dies. To make the dies, power. The economics of our modern world have long since priced laborious one-by-one car building away out of people's reach. Thus they have strangely brought us a double benefit. More cars for more people, improved by the unmatchable exactitude of fine machines. Modern planing and milling machines copy the meticulously made patterns with a faithfulness of within 1/1000th of an inch. But they take their first roughing cuts in half-inch bites of steel, slicing along at 16 inches a minute. power, precision, and people, indispensable each to each other. A machine shapes a die of 17 tons, carving it to hairline accuracy in 2 feet per minute movements. The die will go into a gigantic press which will shape other steels. But men operate miller and press. Men made the steel, Mr. Smith drives the car. People, power, precision, all behind Mr. Smith's car, part and parcel of designing reliability into cars yet to be made. Indeed, there is more behind you, Mr. Smith, than an assembly line. There is design and all that that means. Thought for style and strength and efficiency, and for comfort. Meticulous planning in terms of measurements, spaces, depths, fabrics, temperatures, vision, ride, balance of weights. These things come first in making sure that your car will do just what you want it to do, when you want it, take you where you want, as you want, always. But that's not all. To achieve reliability with performance, comfort, and economy, to produce true quality, one must think for it in design, prepare for it in tooling, forgetting no detail, and equip for it in manufacture. A motor factory represents an enormous investment, not only of money, but of knowledge, talent, and human effort. A vital investment for domestic employment, for overseas trade and national living standards. At the heart of that investment are the machines. They cost a prince's ransom, but they repay royally. They are, furthermore, the ultimate rebuttal of people who believe that one-by-one hand manufacture is necessarily more precise than this. For no man can hope to rival the absolute exactness with which machines like these, there are scores in this plant, operate upon their generous daily portion of steel. Each complete pulley exactly identical. Thus are good cars made at low cost by the preparation of completely accurate components for the assembly line. Thus, too, are precise replacement parts made available cheaply, plentifully, everywhere.
No. No, I'm sorry. I can't manage Tuesday. I'm booked for Reading. Look, I tell you what. I'm in Birmingham on Thursday and stopping overnight. Suppose I come back your way on Friday morning, all right? Right. About 10:30. Right. See you Friday.
Equipment for strength. Every weld precise in location and quality. For power substations, smooth out surges to maintain an exact intensity at the points of the guns. Here is most people's mental notion of a motor factory. The line, the focus of so many operations. The key to volume production with complete quality control. Every operation is inspected, and on final assembly, we are far beyond the beginning of inspection. There is scrupulous inspection through all machining and pressing, all component manufacture, inspection in die cutting, and away back in pattern making, as well as over all raw material. At station after station, point after point, are these experienced men, many of them former senior operators, knowing what to look for. It isn't easy to build quality into every detail of so infinitely complex a creation as a motor car. To achieve it is the accomplishment, above all things, of superb organization. Inspection, inspection, inspection. Test after test after test. To high standards and strict precautions, this factory has added something extra, and today still something most unusual. It has created a special separate division of experts titled Reliability Division, whose job combines a sort of supervision of finished quality with responsibility for finding ways of making it still better. They draw their detailed information and make their plans from a five-way feed of knowledge. From analysis of any errors shown up by the manufacturing inspection stations, from evaluation of any defects found on final inspection road tests, from reports on vehicles in service from the distributing organization throughout the world, from customers' answers to periodic questionnaires, and from daily painstaking point-by-point checking, they call it auditing, of finished products after they have passed final production inspection. No possibilities are left unexplored. Steering geometry is checked with utter precision on super-modern equipment. Trim and finish inside and out are examined by experts with particular experience in these aspects. Every nut and stud is tried with torque measuring tools to see that they are all rightly assembled and washed and at the correct tensions. Nothing is left to chance. Much more than an assembly line, Mr. Smith, the finest in planning, equipment, and methods. And there's something else behind you. experience, both long, 60 years, and wide. Experience of every type of punishment a vehicle may take, gained by making hundreds of thousands of the sort of vehicles that do the work of the world. The vehicles, the trucks and cars, vans and buses that are the products of motor workers' minds and hands do not go out into the world never to be heard of again. For the specialized small world of a car plant is linked in uncountable ways with the world around it, the greater world which it serves and which, by buying what it builds, keeps it building. Motor people of all degrees cannot help being conscious of this relationship, and their awareness of it invariably sharpens on the eve of the announcement of a new one, which every time comes a little nearer to the perfection which must be forever elusive, but is forever the aim. Always the quest for perfection that achieves improvement in major structural and performance features and in thoughtful details such as an interior layout planned to equalize the heater's warmth between front and back seats. The small parties of engineers who go with prototypes to remote places seeking more comfort, more safety, more reliability in all conditions from tropic heat to Arctic cold are the trailbreakers for 25,000 people, for they are all involved with a new model, even though perhaps only 1 in 20 of them is occupied with its development, proving, and tooling. A new one. Behind it, design, planning, equipment, skill and experience, and the eager interest of production men, welders, fitters, trimmers, painters, of engineers, testers, inspectors, of secretaries, apprentices, men and wives and sons to them all. So emerges just Cresta, handsome, sumptuous, disc braked, safer, lower, wider, quieter, better, and just as reliable. Ready for Mr. Smith when he gets his promotion in the new year.
For the moment, he has a date with a home-cooked steak, and the lawn edges want trimming, and the roses tidying, and there's a rugby club circular to be got out. It's all go being a Smith these days.
The time is 7 o'clock. We enjoy too much mechanical assistance in our lives, says Professor Philpott of Midland University in a report published today. We are, he says, overindulgent and growing soft. Motor manufacturers, the professor claims, must take some responsibility. They are guilty, he says, of making their products too attractive, too reliable, and too comfortable.
Some are more guilty than others.